Hi everyone, so in this video I wanted to redraw one of my oldest characters. When I made this character, it was I think 2013, and this is when I first started getting into digital art. I think I was using my mom's computer and one of my dad's old tablets. So this was before I actually had any of my own gear to do it with. And this character, her name is Ivory, and I made her, in 2013. And this was when I was really inspired to just create random designs for characters. I was more focused on the design than the story behind the character. And I think the main concept for this one was that she has a peachy pale hair that fades to red. And I remember I always drew her wearing green because it kind of looked nice with her hair, because green and red are complementary colors. So I wanted to keep those things in mind when I redesigned her. And I also made her really pale, hence her name Ivory. But I think I made all my characters super pale back then. I still do too much nowadays, but I wanted to really emphasize that about her. So I made her extremely pale, and I made the shadows in her skin have a bunch of different colors. So I had fun with the hues in her skin because of how pale she was. And I was struggling with the pose at first because I wanted to do something that wasn't too stiff, but I didn't want to make her in a random action pose. I want it to be a standing pose but not super stiff, and I definitely struggled with the anatomy a lot. I should have looked up a reference for the hands and the way she's holding her arm. I tried to look at my own hands, and I tried to look at my own legs to see how they bent and how they worked. And back in 2013 I was drawing more in the anime style, and then I think after that I wanted to switch my style to something more. I was aiming for semi-realism, but then I settled on currently this cartoony style that I have, and my style has changed so much since then, especially my coloring style. I used to just blend things, and I didn't really have a good grasp on the whole digital art thing. I used a lot of layer modes for my highlights. I used luminosity all the time on Tool SAI. I still do sometimes, but I don't use it for the shines in her hair. And the way I draw hair has changed. I try to think about where it's placed more. As you can see in the original drawing of this character, her hair is just kind of all over the place. It's just these triangular shape things that just kind of stick out of her head, but I wanted the hair to kind of have more, follow her body more, follow her pose more. Since she's kind of leaning forward a bit, I made her hair kind of follow the way she was angled. And in the original reference, I said that she liked to dress understated or more casual. So I wanted to do that here, and I really like designing casual outfits. It's the only kind of outfit that I am familiar with because that's the only kind of clothing that I wear, which is casual stuff. So I wanted to draw something I've never drawn before, which is someone with a sweater tied around their waist. And that's what I wanted to do for her, because that's a pretty casual look, and that also opens a door for her to also be wearing that sweater. So she can wear the sweater, or she can take it off and tie it around her waist. So she's just wearing shorts, and you'll see her outfit soon. And I wanted to keep her outfit green to kind of go with her hair because her hair is red. And I didn't know if I wanted to make her hair shorter at first or longer, but I decided to stick to her original really long hair, but I didn't make it quite as long because that was just, I don't know, I didn't want it to be that long. I just wanted it to be the length that I drew it at. And I really struggled with the hands. It was just so hard to get them to look right, because I find when I draw a hand facing down like that, towards the ground, once I rotate the canvas to show it a hand facing up, it looks completely different. It looks so distorted. So I try to fix it that way, and when I rotate it back, it looks even worse, and it's just a constant struggle. And hands are always so hard to draw, and I also really struggled with drawing the sweater around her waist. And I think also at first I made her shoulders way too narrow. It was just looking really odd. I always struggle with the torso, especially where the arms meet the shoulders, where the arms meet the torso. And that whole area, I just always struggle with that. And whenever I do anatomy studies, I try to focus on that part because I know it's so difficult for me. Legs I don't find too hard, but this pose I did find difficult because I couldn't tell if I was making her legs too, I think they are too thin in some parts. And it was just a struggle, and her head was huge at the beginning, and I didn't realize just how bad it was, just how big it was. And I made it smaller, and then it kind of made everything look a little bit better. And I tried to make her shoulders wider because I made them way too narrow, and just the way that her arm connected didn't make sense. And it was just a huge struggle, and I don't know if I pulled it off in the end or not, but I definitely think it's an improvement from her original design because she was supposed to be someone that wore casual clothing, and shorts and sneakers and a t-shirt with a sweater around your waist is pretty casual. And I wanted her shirt to be interesting. I wanted it to be more unique, but you will see that eventually. And I kept on changing her hands. I kept on changing the pose of her hands and where they were, and I kept looking at my own hand for reference, which I definitely recommend if you're struggling with hands. Yeah, if you're struggling with hands, like look at your own hands, look at reference. It makes things so much easier. And also take your time when you're drawing them, because I tend to rush when I draw hands, but I find when I take my time more, they turn out better. But sometimes when I take my time, I end up making the hand huge and really, really wrong. So I don't know, it's always a constant struggle. And I don't think that her outfit is that unique. If anything, I like the colors out of everything. I think the colors are the best part of this because, well, she kind of looks like in her original design, I thought that she looked like a candy cane because it's red and green and with white, which is a candy cane, and she still kind of does, but she's not supposed to look like Christmas, and I hope it doesn't come across that way because of the red and green. I did more of like a minty blue green instead of like a forest green, which I think would look more like Christmas. And I also really, really struggled with her face because I kept making her eyes lopsided. I kept changing them too much, and the more I rendered the face, the more it started to look really weird. And I don't know if I pulled it off in the end, but I am overall happy with the way my style is going because I wanted something more unique, more my own, but I don't want to draw all their faces the same all the time, and I don't know if I've been doing that. And this outfit isn't really that unique. Like I said before, it's just like shorts and a t-shirt, but that's what I wanted her to be wearing. I wanted her, since she has kind of interesting hair, I wanted her outfit to be a little bit more boring, but I wanted her shoes to be bright red because in her original design, that's how they were. And I actually made her shoes bright red before I realized that she used to wear bright red shoes, which I thought was kind of interesting. I didn't even remember that her shoes were red. And shoes are hit or miss for me all the time because I kept making them too small. I kept making them one of them too long, and the perspective was really, really off on one of them. I ended up fixing it later, and her skin has a lot of purpley hues in it, and I don't know if this made her look kind of sick. So I tried to make it more reddish and orangish so she didn't look so dead or sick because she's so pale and she has purple shading. But just let me know what you think compared to the old design to this new design. I know the anatomy is off in a lot of places, especially her legs and her face and her hands and everything. It's not perfect at all, but I do think I've improved drawing bodies since back in 2013 when I made everyone really, really tall, overly tall, way too skinny, and there wasn't much. It was so stiff. And I still think, of course, I still have some stiffness to my art, but I think it's getting better, especially since it's been 4 years, so I hope it's better. And so yeah, let me know what you think and how you think her outfit is. I wanted to go for little triangles on her sleeve and a little triangle on the front because that's one of my favorite shapes. So I hope you enjoyed seeing me try to fix one of my old characters, tried to make her more realistic and more unique, not look like all my other, because everything I drew back then, it all looked the same, I think, and I wanted to just I wanted to give her a fresh coat of paint. So I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know what you think, if you think I've improved or if you like the old one better. I don't know. I really hope you enjoyed seeing this video, and I'll see you in my next one.